How do you sell a $10 million painting? You get 2 billionaires that want it. There's always somebody in your audience willing to pay you a great deal more than even you think they would.
Supply and demand, if you understand it, it's not boring. It's very sexy and exciting.
Supply and demand is everything. It really is everything.
You should not actually get into a business. The product that you are going to be selling is difficult for you to get your hands on.
Everybody wants it because there's less of it. Like whiskey, for instance.
And what does this cause?
Hey, welcome back to the Trainwreck Show. I'm your host, Perry Belcher, the unstoppable force of sales and marketing, here with the immovable object, the Wizard of Ops, Miss Emma Rainville, who, like I always say, answers the question, why do lions eat their young? Okay, so welcome back. I hope you're doing well.
Lions don't eat their young.
Sure they do.
No, they don't.
Tigers eat their young.
Tigers eat their young.
Okay, sorry. Lions don't eat their young. Tigers eat their young.
Shocking, you get a fact wrong.
Yeah. Thanks for fact checking me.
No problem.
It's the only thing you actually ever do around here. Okay,
Pay me an awful lot of money if that's all.
That is a lot, isn't it? What are we going to talk about today? Welcome to the show, by the way. If you haven't been on the Trainwreck Show before, this is how it works. Emma talks about ops. I talk about sales. We kind of give you our best advice from being in the trenches, doing, I guess, billions of dollars collectively in transactions over the years. And we tell you the things that we've screwed up, that we've watched people screwed up, and the handful of things we've gotten right, which is probably not that many. But we're getting better every day.
Enough.
Yeah, we are practicing entrepreneurs. So it's just like practicing physicians. We're still practicing. So we'll tell you what we do well, what we don't do well, and try to give you a heads up to keep you out of the ditch.
Sometimes we'll disagree, and most of the time we will.
And that's when I'll be right. So you can just hold on to that. Just know that if she disagrees, it's...
But we do have a ton of resources over at www.trainwreckshow.com. So go grab those.
We sure do.
We sure do. All right. So Perry, today... we're going to be talking about something which I'm actually surprised because Perry came up with the topic, and it's really interesting because it's an operational topic. It's supply.
It's an everything topic.
It is, but it's an operational topic.
I think it's more of a marketing sales topic.
Of course you do. You think everything is marketing sales, but supply and demand is what we're going to be talking about today. And
yeah, don't click off because you hear that because it sounds boring. Because I promise you it ain't boring.
I don't think supply and demand is boring. Do you think it's a boring topic?
I think when people hear supply and demand, they're like, I get it. They think they already understand everything about it.
I think supply chain can be...
This ain't supply chain. It's a whole different
can be considered boring. I think supply and demand, if you understand it, it's not boring. It's very sexy and exciting, my opinion.
When we get to the point then, so maybe they can understand.
Oh, well, fuck me then. Go ahead.
I just want to get to the point. So basically, if you don't have a business where there's more demand for what you do than there is supply for what you do, you are likely never going to make any reasonable amount of profit. That's the big soundbite takeaway. Supply and demand applies to all areas of business. It applies to employees. If you don't have enough employees to provide the services that you're trying to sell, that's not going to work either. But when you're in the business of selling anything or offering anything for sale, any kind of business, beyond the product, beyond you, beyond the branding, beyond anything, it is the core fundamental foundation of all things that are business. If there's more supply than there is demand, you are likely going to suffer because the customer's in charge. The customer's in the camera. If you try to buy a car during COVID, you know what I'm talking about. Car dealers had the upper hand. They were charging $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 over sticker price. Why? There weren't enough cars. Now, a car dealer will beg you to come on the lot to buy a car because they have lots full of cars because they oversupplied. There's a story called the Lover's Beer Story. Look it up, the Lover's Beer Story. It's a first year, I think, Harvard Business or Stanford Business experiment, and it's about a little beer company called Lover's Beer, and a rapper goes on and does this huge viral rap video drinking Lover's Beer. And all of a sudden, all the Lover's Beer nationwide sells out. And the little company has to ramp up to make way more beer. And they're out and they keep getting more and more orders because there's less and less beer. Everybody wants it because there's less of it, right? Like whiskey, for instance. Wine, everybody wants it because there's less of it. Eventually, they get into equilibrium and they get production caught back up. And now everybody's shelves are full with Lover's beer. And guess what? Everybody's tired of Lover's beer. There's too much of it. They don't want it anymore. Supply and demand is everything. It really is everything. And what I want to talk to you about on this podcast is actually creating it, inventing supply and demand.
Okay.
Because it's possible to do.
All right.
But natural supply and demand, what we probably know most commonly are things like diamond and gold and super rare things. Even Bitcoin, there's a limited amount of Bitcoin made. There's a limited amount that can ever be made per the Bitcoin blockchain. So
I just want to go back for a second and explain just a little bit. So you have supply and demand where the supply is not there for reasons like
natural rarity.
There aren't people natural rarity, or there isn't enough people to go work in manufacturing hubs to build cars right now, or a supplement raw that is very difficult to get.
Very hard to get.
And takes a long time to manufacture.
And it could be geographic even.
And then there is created supply and demand. And I think the best example of this are Hermès bags.
Right.
There are a million.
They can make as many as they want.
A million expensive bags out there. A million. I can go to Gucci. I can go to YSL. Yeah. I go in my closet. I can go get all kinds of bags. They have created a situation where you have to go buy a scarf, create a relationship with a salesperson, and then be invited to come look at a bag. And you only get so many invites. It's not even the bag you may want that you have to buy in order to be able to continue to be invited back.
And maybe you get the one that you actually want someday for $40,000.
This is absolutely absurd to me.
But
I will never own one of those bags. But every female entrepreneur friend I have, every single one, either wants one or has 6 or 7 scarves because they're trying to get invited to purchase one.
Yeah, Ferrari is an amazing example.
Yes, absolutely.
Ferrari, you have to get a Ferrari, you have to apply to get a Ferrari. If you sell the Ferrari within a certain period of time, like Justin Bieber,
right,
or you modify the Ferrari, they don't want you to modify their car. You bought it. You should be able to.
Belongs to you.
Belongs to you. But if you modify it in certain ways, or if you sell it within a shorter window, Justin Bieber is banned
from buying
Ferraris. Now, do you think that Justin Bieber's banned from buying Ferraris because if Perry did that, do you think they would ban me? Probably not. They wanted to make a public splash out.
I think you'd be banned.
Justin Bieber.
I think they're that serious.
Justin Bieber cannot buy another.
But
Ferrari
they made a very
public thing about it.
Very public thing.
And
it was shameful what he did. For
Yeah.
those of you who don't know, Justin Bieber bought a Ferrari. He modified it.
And then sold it real quick.
And then sold it within, I believe, months of purchase.
Yeah. And you can't sell it within, I think, 12 or 24 months of purchase or something like that. There's a whole bunch of rules. You know, I bought Rolls Royce. So Rolls Royce lets you do
whatever you want.
Pretty much whatever you want.
Which is what you should do when you pay that kind of money for a car.
$440,000, yeah.
But Justin Bieber, so he gets banned. And what does this cause?
Oh, it causes more and more publicity.
But why would they not allow you to sell their car? I want to come back to that. So why would Ferrari say you can't sell
just more exclusivity?
My vehicle?
Like Harry Winston, very similar kind of thing. Anybody sitting at the top of the food chain, the Bernard Arnault, who owns Veuve Champagne, Louis Vuitton, a bunch of other premium brands, he hovers around the second or third richest person in the world. He's always in the top 10. And you got to think about it. These people that are his contemporaries are Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett and Elon Musk that are innovators, geniuses. You know, this guy's just selling champagne in a different color bottle.
Right.
And all this stuff about during COVID, if you paid attention, they had all the ropes up in front of all the stores. Most of them, they're still there because they found that the experiment was if they put the rope up and made you stand in line to go inside and buy a $3,000 bag, on average, you spent 30% more money once you got in the store because you feel privileged to have gotten.
Can I give you another side to that, Glenn?
Sure.
Christian Louboutin, they have the whole rope thing. Caesar's Farm in Vegas. The only thing I ever loved about you living in Vegas was being able to go to
the
Caesar's
Christian Louboutin store.
At that particular one. because I had a sales girl there. And there is nothing more exciting, which sets off all kinds of dopamine in your brain and you're ready to spend, than walking up to a line and having your salesperson come out and being like, Miss Rainville.
Just come right in.
You come right in. You skip this. And then, because I can text her and tell her I'm coming.
Yeah.
Why? Because I've gone in there and dropped several grand.
Yeah.
Enough times that she's excited when she comes in on her day off when I'm going. That's a no shit. But there is such a beautiful thing that they've created with all of this.
Oh, the casinos are brilliant with it. There's always a bigger suite.
Not only do you feel super important standing on a red carpet behind rope to get in line to go give them all of your money.
Yeah.
But then they've also created this next tier for people who have consistently given them all of their money so that you get to pass the line up. And when you get to pass the red carpet and go behind the rope, like, it's brilliant.
Every restaurant in a casino has the diamond line, the platinum line, the gold line, the what. When you go into the Wynn, when you come through the back door of the Wynn, which is my favorite way to go to the Wynn, because if you're going to the back door,
you're already way more important than everybody else.
You're already more important. When you walk in the back door of the Wynn, they have these beautiful pools and all that, and there are these like 8 doors as soon as you walk in, and those are the villas. You can't buy them; they're not for rent.
Is that true?
Yeah, you can't get a villa at the Wynn. You can't get it. It has to be given to you because you're a high-rolling gambler or what have you.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got to skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
But just the core of supply and demand, there's less gold out there than people would like to have. And it's very expensive. It's naturally rare. So it has this natural rarity to it. Bitcoin claims to have the same thing. I don't know how you feel about Bitcoin. And then when you get into normal currencies of countries now that are called fiat currencies, that means that the U.S., for instance, can print all the money it wants to print. Mm-hmm. So those dollars consistently go down in value because they can print an unlimited amount of them. So the more of them they print, the more value those fiat currencies lose. Because fiat currency is really just a note or a loan that is being taken out against that country. But on a simpler thing, boobs, I always talk about. I love boobs. I love boobs. Boobs love me. Boob doctors in the 80s in Bel Air, Beverly Hills, there were only 3 or 4 people that could do boob surgeries. They were making $200,000 a week. Now, a boob doctor in Beverly Hills is lucky if they make $200,000 a year.
That's so crazy.
Because there's 1,000 of them, right?
So crazy.
Any market eventually comes into equilibrium. And when the market comes into equilibrium, most of the money in the market is gone. When I got started in the online world in 1997, 3 years before Y2K, I went through Y2K as an e-com seller thinking the world was going to end.
We need to do a podcast on Y2K. That. I absolutely remember Y2K. Yeah. We didn't know each other then, and I wasn't in the online space.
Yeah.
I was actually in hospitals at the time, and we were
you thought the whole world was going to end.
We were so afraid of what would happen.
There was a lot of money made. Oof.
What would happen if all the computers went down? We need to do that podcast where we tell the Y2K story, because that's actually, I haven't thought about that. That's very interesting to me, because that was very much in the infancy of online seller entrepreneurship, and to have that happen. Oh, I'm excited for that one.
I paid
I'm excited to talk to that one. Okay, sorry.
I paid $25,000 for somebody to come in and build me a Yahoo store. This was an existing.
How much?
$25,000
in the 90s.
Yeah, I was paying $10,000 to have
You won't pay that now.
Having a 5-page site built, huh?
You won't pay that now.
Oh, you can get done for $200 on Fiverr. That's my point, because back then there were a handful of people that knew how to do that. Like right now, AI is the hot thing. People are paying thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to have AI things set up. In a year or two, it'll be common as dirt to have that. Maybe the AI does it for you for free, right? But anytime that there's a new thing that happens, like I know somebody right now that's a hairdresser, and they do ombre hair dyeing that, where your bottom part's red and it blends into the next part of what. It's $1,200 to get your hair dyed that way.
Is it really?
It's just nuts, right? Because not very many people know that technique or that ability to do that. When you've got a limited amount of people that know how to do a thing and a number of people that want to get it done, that's when markets are out of equilibrium and there's money to be made. When they swing, though, the other direction, eventually when something becomes common and everyone has it, Nobody's going to want that ombre hairstyle anymore. Handbags are that way. I used to sell jewelry and handbags in malls. And a certain kind of jewelry would come out that was very popular. There were these, back in the 80s, they had these silver puffed hearts that all women were wearing. And they were this special little heart jewelry. God, I couldn't sell them fast. I couldn't get them fast. I was buying them literally by 50, 60 pounds of these things at a time. And I could sell them in a mall in a week. But it was like somebody flipped a switch one day and nobody wanted them anymore. Because every woman had two or three of them.
What are those little freaking furry things?
Oh, yeah.
What are those?
Yeah, the Thai Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies.
That was the stupidest thing ever.
Well, they made limited editions of them, and they
that
were
was
all
but a perfect example of what you're talking about.
One day, but had they made all the Beanie Babies you could possibly want,
nobody
the trim would have burned out in 3 months.
No one would have wanted
When you
them.
trickle them out in limited editions over a long period of time, you get a lot out of that. That person became a billionaire, by the way.
I had a friend who bought one of those things for $3,000.
Oh yeah.
For $3,000.
But today that thing is worth $3. There's only one piece of original art when there's an original. I watched the owner of Sotheby's one time, or the manager of Sotheby's, say, how do you sell a $10 million painting? You get 2 billionaires that want it because there's only one.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you a crazy, stupid example story. This is a true story. It's hard to believe it's a true story. I was with JT Fox, who promotes events. I was speaking at an event of his. At that event, I spoke with Bret Michaels.
Okay.
And with Eric Trump.
No shit.
And at the end of JT's events, he had a charity auction, right? And one of the auctions was you got to go on stage and play guitar live at a Bret Michaels concert, at a Poison concert. That got auctioned off. Eric Trump would bring you to the Trump Tower offices, take you for a ride in the helicopter, and get your picture taken at the You're Fired desk. And then there's Perry. What's Perry going to do?
Write somebody's sales letter.
Write somebody's sales letter.
I'd pick Perry every time.
The Bret Michaels thing went for like $8,000. The Trump thing went for like
$2.50.
No, it went for about the same. They started bidding me up. And this is a great example. There were 1,000 people in the audience, right? There's always, this is the greatest example ever of this. There's always somebody in your audience willing to pay you a great deal more than even you think they would.
Right.
So they started auctioning it off, right? And I get up to 12,000, 13,000. Oh, wow. Pretty crazy.
I beat Bret Michaels and
pretty crazy.
Eric Trump. The bar was pretty low.
At the end, there were fewer and fewer bidders, obviously.
Right.
So at the end, there were 2 people absolutely determined that I was going to write their sales letter.
And how much were they up to?
We went to $40,000. And finally, JT looked at me and said, will you just write 2?
Yeah.
And I raised $80,000. A lot more money.
Than Bret Michaels and Eric Trump.
Together. And they all Bret Michaels had me on the bus that night because he's like, what the hell are you? I never heard of your ass. What's a sales letter? And
was this before or after his stroke?
Oh, it was before.
Before.
Yeah. Really awesome. But the point is, there was only one of me to do this. There wasn't a lot of opportunity. There was one. It's a one-time thing. So sometimes this.
But that $40,000 sales letter, which, by the way, around that time,
I know who I wrote it for, and they made way more money than that.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Around that time, a sales letter.
You want to hear the crazy part?
Sure.
One of the people never had me write the sales letter.
No,
only one of them did. Isn't that crazy?
He just never contacted you, or what?
Never heard from him. Isn't that nuts?
It's for charity.
It was for charity. It can also be a geographic thing.
Okay.
For instance, I'm making an investment right now in a company you don't know about, but I'm making an investment in a company right now that does blood testing. And blood testing in Austin, you can go get a blood test done for a standard panel for about $180. But in Canton, Texas, where there's 4,000 people, you can demand $350 because there are no other blood testing places there. So you can go there with a mobile thing.
Same. I get my blood work done in my house.
You pay a lot more.
I pay a ridiculous amount more.
Same.
I don't care. Comes to my house. I don't have to leave.
Same. But there's only a handful of people that
do it.
That do that.
There's one place that'll come to Georgetown.
So they can charge you a super premium price to do that. So sometimes it's just geographics.
Right.
You can't get, like, for instance, I can go here in town and eat a great steak at Capitol Grill. and it'll cost me what, $50, $60?
Capital Grill? I don't
or
know.
Bob's
I don't go
Steakhouse. I get a $50, $60 steak.
Sure.
At Perry's or wherever. $50, $60. I go get a good steak at Outback Steakhouse for $25 or Longhorn Steakhouse.
But then you get to sit in Outback.
In Manila, Philippines.
I'm excited for this because I bet you they have something insane.
Yeah, it's awesome. You can get a steak a little worse than the one you get at Longhorn Steakhouse for about $120.
Yeah, I figured that. You always tell the joke that, you know that Filipino restaurant? Yeah, because nobody wants to eat that shit.
But a steak, beef is just really hard to
get right
in the Philippines. So if you want to go eat an average steak, it's going to cost you $120 because of supply and demand.
Right.
And there's, there are people, a lot of travelers that go there that want a steak, right? The Filipino people don't eat a lot of steak. They don't steak that much. They eat fish and other things that are more to their diet. But the craziness is we live in Austin, Texas, and there are at least two, but there are several more. Black's Barbecue and Franklin Barbecue. There's a line out front in the morning.
Franklin's Barbecue.
However long to get
2.5 hours, and they generally run out of food for Franklin's.
Goldie's Barbecue.
I just want to say this. People will pay other people
to sit in line,
to go stand in line. There are people that you can go on to. It used to be Craigslist. And Facebook Marketplace. I don't know how it works anymore. But you used to be able to go on and you'd spend $150 for them to go sit in line for you and order your food.
Yeah. I was watching a show the other day about new 2 years best barbecue in Texas. Is it
here in Austin?
It's 40 miles from here in the middle of nowhere. So people drive 40 miles.
Crazy.
At night. They set out blankets and folding chairs for them. Swear to God.
Get out.
They only open.
I believe it. Texas is crazy.
They open on Friday morning at 11 o'clock.
They probably close till about 2, 3 o'clock.
They're only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Because they sell out by 1 o'clock. They're all out.
Okay.
Right? Let me tell you guys, I don't mean to burst your bubble. Here's a shocker. There's no shortage of cows in Texas. Could they cook more barbecue?
I'm sure that they could.
Yes, they could. But just like the Hermès
nobody
bag,
would be driving out there 40 miles if they did. Somebody had a little bit of marketing.
Right. A lot. So you can create this exclusivity. Mm-hmm. One of the guys, I love his book, Daniel Priestley. I'm a huge fan. I talk about him a lot. It talks about this concept a lot. And he had a guy in Portland that wanted to open a pizza restaurant. His whole dream of his life was open a pizza restaurant. He retired. He had a little bit of money. He didn't have much money. He rented this little bitty place. It's tiny, like the size of this room to make pizzas. It needed a pizza oven and a window and didn't have much money. And he hired Priestley to help him. And they came up with a cool name for it. It's like a pink building. It stands out. And I forget the name of it. And a really cool box that the pizzas come in. And anyway, the guy opens the first day. He sold 10 pizzas and hung out a sign that said sold out. There's people coming by. Can I get a pizza? No, sorry, sold out. Next day, 10 pizzas sold out. Next day, 10 people. By the third or fourth day even, there's 30 people waiting for a pizza. There's only 10 pizzas. And he slowly ratcheted up the amount of pizzas they make and the price, and just made the prices ridiculous. The price is like, it's a personal pizza and it's $22 for a personal pan pizza. And now they do 100 pizzas a day.
Crazy.
So he'll do $2,200. Mm-hmm. He goes in, sells $2,200 for the pizzas in an hour and goes home.
That's a second marshmallow kind of guy.
Pardon?
Second marshmallow kind of guy.
What's the second marshmallow?
Sorry. So second marshmallow theory is God, this is so long. I didn't mean to do this. They did a study, went into a kindergarten class, and they offered kids one marshmallow. But wait, if you wait 3 minutes, you can have a second marshmallow. And they followed these kids through life, and the kids who picked the first marshmallow overall had crappy careers. They got divorced. They made poor decisions. They were socioeconomically way below the people who took two marshmallows.
I heard that
two marshmallows. So the kids who took the second marshmallow knew that to wait and to be patient was better than immediate gratification. And they tended to last in marriage and be entrepreneurs and business executives and just do better in life. They followed them over 35 years or something.
We interrupt this pod to bring you this really special announcement. You need to go right now Well, maybe do they want to go right now? Want to stop?
No, at the end. We don't want to have them stop.
Go to trainwreckshow.com. There's lots of bots there, GPT bots that do things for you, that do a lot of your work. So you don't have to work so much, you can drink more beer. The episode archives are over there. There's all of our resources, worksheets, workbooks. Everything that we've done that we give away is over there. Go get it right now. There's a lot of resources there. Way more resources than you get when you buy a lot of communities, I think.
And don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can catch every episode as soon as it hits. We'll send you a notification.
It doesn't mean you're liking Emma, by the way, because I know that slows us down on our likes. You can just click and say, I like Perry. You don't have to like Emma. It works the same way. That's incredible. This is the phenomenon of this. When you tell somebody, oh, supply and demand, they go, oh, yawn. You know, it's everything.
It's so sexy though, because how do you, so number one, I want to just operationally for a moment speak, if I could. You can't actually, or you should not actually get into a business where the product that you are going to be selling is difficult for you to get your hands on. Operationally speaking. And I'm going to bring that
Caviar
around.
Dealers would disagree with you. But yeah.
We're talking to online sellers.
Think about fish eggs, by the way, caviar. Isn't that hilarious? Caviar.
Hilarious.
Just, it's a joke.
Hilarious.
Many years ago, they gutted those and threw them away.
Yeah, someone smoked a bunch of weed and said, I bet you we can screw over a bunch of white people.
Instead of making this garbage that we throw out, that we got to deal with.
And sprinkle it on top of shit. $22,
But make it
1/15 of an ounce.
Did you ever see the Robin Williams bit about golf?
No.
Oh my God. He does a bit about golf. It's just, can you imagine it's Scotland? Can you imagine how much weed these dudes smoked that came up with the idea of golf? It's just, they're sitting around and he's like, I got an idea. We're going to take a stick and knock a rock in the golfer hole. And he says, that's not a bad idea. So you'll have a rock on a hole on a big stick. No, fuck no. It's a little bitty hole and a little bitty ball and a little skinny stick with a head on it. He says, so they'll knock the ball 20 or 30 feet. Fuck no. It's 300-400 yards. It's impossible. And he talks about how crazy the whole idea of golf was. But had it not been difficult,
right,
no one would have wanted to play it.
But my point is you don't want to you don't want to sell products you can't get your hands on.
Yeah.
You don't want to run out of your ability to sell it and scale it. And that's
unless you're prepared to be in that business.
Sure.
Because people do sell minks and diamonds and
right. We're talking to online sellers.
Yeah.
For sure, there are caveats to this.
Sure.
But for the mass majority of the visionary entrepreneur that follow us,
right,
they should not go and let me go get a raw ingredient into a supplement that is impossible to get half of the year and has a 12-week manufacturer lead time. So that if I hit a big spurt, I'm just going to lose the algorithm and the momentum. So you want to make sure that you're able to get your hands on it. You need to find the path and the sweet spot to making it so that it isn't like CMOS, for example. I think CMOS is a phenomenal. You know what CMOS is? CMOS is actually, you should try it. It tastes delicious if you buy the right kind. It's really good for your gut. It's good for weight loss. It's good for your blood sugar. It's good for cognitive skills. It's got 90, I think I'm going to say this wrong, 93 or 96 of the 108 minerals your body needs.
Sure.
Take a spoonful of it every day. I can go and get CMOS anywhere at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's weird. CMOS. It's if you're someone who doesn't like puddings, like the texture is weird and it's a little bit sticky. And so there are people now that are creating like these CMOS gel tabs that are scientifically proven to give you the same amount of minerals. And this is apparently like very difficult to do. And so they found a niche within a market that people want and a product that no one else is saying, i.e. creating that supply and demand without jeopardizing their own business. I may have said half of the stuff about CMOS wrong. Don't come for me in the comments. Don't come for me in the comments. You don't get to read the comments. I got to read the comments. I got to answer these fucking people on these comments. They love to fact check everything.
If you hate me, say anything you want to say because I ain't never going to see it no way.
Yeah. Oh, they do. Oh, they do. Oh, they do. Our comments are wild. But in any event, like there's always a way to creatively take a product that you're selling, not to.
It could be how it's processed.
Right.
You know?
Not even to.
It's bioavailability, all those things.
My own business, Shockwave. I wanted to do fractional COO work. There's a gazillion. Why would anybody pick me? And then I did exactly what, I didn't know you at the time, but what you tell people all the time, go and investigate what people don't like about the service of other people. And it's the same thing over and over again. I found these people are coming in, they're giving operational advice, they're not doing the work, and there's no accountability when things don't work. And then they come back and say, oh, it's your fault. So what do? I supply an ops team.
Yeah.
And now we're accountable for everything that I say that we're going to do in your business. I'm accountable for it. So I created that within what I wanted to do. And so I just wanted to bring that up because you also do that. Ignite Mastermind. There are a million masterminds out there.
Sure.
There are a lot of lower ticket masterminds out there.
Sure.
There are not a lot of low ticket masterminds that have the training and tools and software and
cruises
workshops and cruises. And so you took what everybody else was doing and you said, here, hold my beer. And you created this. Ignite Mastermind is the only mastermind that you don't have to be a millionaire to belong to. Ignite Mastermind is the only mastermind that is going to take you from here and help you get to here.
Well, look at Apple, right? Apple's a great example.
Oh,
if you want,
sure.
If you want to, things that people don't notice about Apple, Apple brought out its first computer 20 years after the first personal computer. Apple brought out the iPhone 19 years after the first mobile phone. 19 years. Apple brought out the iPod 15 years after people had mobile music devices. People brought out AirPods 30 years after earphones.
Yep. Look, did it way better than
they just look at products and think about all the things that people don't like about.
What do people want?
Yeah.
What do they not like about the products that are available to them for what they want? And how do we make it 10 times better than what they ever dreamed
the clarity
it could be?
The clarity in what people don't want is always much clearer.
Do you remember what the hell were they called? Were they iPods? I think they made. I don't remember what they were called. These
little iPod cubes.
The little cubes. Those little cubes.
They were awesome.
We went from Walkmans.
Yeah.
To CD players that you couldn't walk with because the damn CD would skip.
Yeah, right.
Because the CD would skip. So you had to go back to the Walkman if you were going
to. A terrible product.
Bro. And so the first time I used one, I remember I was here in Texas. I was visiting.
I think you put 1,500 songs on that little one.
You put 1,500 songs on the little thing. It was a little bit difficult to man, but it was still.
Right.
I could go for a run.
Yeah.
It wasn't bulky.
Is that back when you used to run and exercise and stuff?
Yes. I'm rich now. I don't need to do those things. I should do those things, actually. But anyway, thank you for just fucking ruining my self-esteem in the middle. But you took these things that were, you could take them places before, but they were difficult. They were bulky. They were difficult to deal with. So you would just go without. You couldn't run with a Walkman. It was a fucking brick.
Oh, God, I got to tell you another story you'll like.
Okay.
So talking about Apple.
He does this whenever I'm talking, by the way. Like he's...
My story's just better. So talking about Apple. So Apple decided that they were going to make the iWatch.
Right.
This is a really good story. It's a great example of supply demand. So Apple decided they're going to make the iWatch. So it leaked that they were going to do it. They hadn't done it yet. So Samsung, who's out to get Apple at every occasion.
Rush to market.
They rushed to market and put out their phone in October before Christmas.
Their watch.
I
remember Gabe had Samsung at the time. Gabe got the watch.
Yeah. So they came out with the watch, and Samsung brought out their watch early. So in October, they saw that Apple was going to miss Christmas delivery. Mm-hmm. So we got them this time. Mm-hmm. So they made 800,000 Samsung watches. They shipped them all to retailers so they would be in stores completely available. They went on sale. There had been no education of the market, and educating market's expensive. Mm-hmm. So you would think that Apple would have been in a rush to get the phone out.
No, absolutely not.
They did not. So what they did, they waited until March of the next year, And they made a deal with Hermès to make an Hermès leather band for the iWatch, and they advertised it in Vogue and Town and Country and the New York Times. And
nobody wants a Samsung watch.
And you couldn't buy it. You couldn't buy it. So next they sent out like 300 of these to really high-end celebrities who wore them. They didn't really sell very well. The Hermès watches didn't sell very well because they were like, the band was like $2,800 on the watch.
Sure, it was more than that.
The $3,000 iWatch. They gave these away to several hundred celebrities who started wearing them. And then in, I think it was August or September of that year.
The next year, that year.
They allowed you to go to an Apple store and get on a waiting list to get an iWatch. Mm-hmm. The Samsung watch is a very good watch. I have one. Like, I like it better than I like an iWatch, to be frank. But I know you're different. But
well, I never had one, so I
really liked it.
Gabe, when I got my iWatch, which I got it, I want to say I got mine in January.
Yeah.
So his came out in August. They came out with it. They were coming out with one in March. I was an iPhone person, so the Samsung didn't work for me. And then he signed up for it for me, I think in September in Puerto Rico, actually.
I think you had to go to a store.
Yeah, you had to go to a store. You had to go to a store.
They made it.
And I'm pretty sure you had to pay for it. I believe you had to pay for it too. And then it came in the mail in January. And it wasn't a wait list. It was just like, you're going to get it, but it's going to be, it was a pre-sale. But Gabe, after he saw my watch, I only had it for 30 days before he went and got an iWatch. He liked it better than Samsung.
The result was, in the end, the original 800,000 Samsung watches did not sell through. And they ended up selling them at a great discount to AT&T to give away when you bought an AT&T to get rid of them. They didn't sell through the first 800,000. Subsequently, that Christmas season, Apple sold 4 million iWatches and have went on to sell more than 50 million iWatches. Little side note, Netflix, I'm trying to think of the companies. It's a lot. Like if you take Netflix, there are like 8 other companies you can lump in that are roughly the same size. Those companies' annual sales do not add up to Apple's annual sales.
Oh, I believe that.
Of AirPods.
Apple
sells more AirPods.
I absolutely believe that.
Than Netflix total gross revenue.
I totally
Can you imagine?
I don't know if you've ever read Steve Jobs' biography.
Isaacson's.
Yeah. Wrote. I have it downstairs.
I did a long time ago.
I read that thing and I just became obsessed with Apple and with Pixar. And I've read every book.
Oh, yeah. Pixar was crazy. Their storytelling broke the rules.
Yeah, I have read every book I can get my hands on about Pixar and about Apple. They're the ability to sit and think and strategize, and the brain trust that he surrounded himself with to really harp in and strategize on execution of product creation, product delivery, and product experience.
Patience, too. Just incredible patience to wait for perfection.
Insane patience. He had insane patience.
Yeah. Calligraphy. He said his number one class he ever took was calligraphy. It taught him design. Mm-hmm. He said Apple would have never been Apple had he not stumbled into a calligraphy class because he dumped all of his other classes. He hated college. And he took calligraphy because he was bored. And he learned the balanced eye of design. Last thing real quick on supply and demand. So creating supply and demand, like me, right? I only take on a maximum of 8 private clients at a given time. Because a private client for me is hard, right? So my private client fee is $120,000 a year. Who should pay me $120,000? You got to be nuts to pay me that much money. Unless you already got a big enough company where I can make a big impact. But I can demand that money. I turn down more of those than I take.
That's because a lot of people don't want to listen
because
to you.
I want to know somebody's not crazy.
You want to know that they're going to
deliver.
You want to know that they're not so stuck on, I'm going to be the face of my brand, and you tell them you can't be the face of the brand.
Yeah. The other thing real quick, so you get to create. It's your business, it's your rules. That's the good news, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, I wanted to bring in an extra $1 million a year in private consulting. I could have done 100 clients at $10,000 and done a group thing. I could have done 30 clients at $30,000 or $35,000. For me to really think about you in the shower, to think about you when I'm on vacation, to think about you.
You don't take showers.
I don't take showers, take baths. And I do think about my clients in the bathtub.
I know you do. You call me about them.
But
while you're
for me to-
splashing around like a jellyfish.
But I'll tell you, my lower level clients, I deliver value to them, but I don't think about their individual businesses in the bathtub.
No.
So in order for that to enter my mind like it's one of the businesses that I own, that was the minimum it was worth to me. And hopefully be worth a lot more. I might buy equity in that business down the road. The only other way that I know to manufacture exclusivity, and there are others, right? But the other way is with something that has a hard and certain date. The price elasticity of a thing that has a hard deadline is crazy. And it's been tested now. Live Nation's tested it. Garth Brooks is playing again in Las Vegas. A front row ticket to a Garth Brooks show is $9,000 now.
Is that true?
It's an absolute fact.
Didn't he change his name and become a rock star?
Oh, that was a long time ago. It was a failed experiment. But it's $9,000 to be on a front row at one of his private shows. And they put him. Guess what they did this time? They used to put him in arenas and concerts. Caesar's Palace put him in a 2,200 seat arena.
That's why.
$9,000.
Right.
$3,000 for a bad ticket. Years ago, I was in the retail business, and the first thing I started out doing in business that was a real business was I was in the jewelry business in malls. And I opened my first jewelry store, and I made $6,000 the first week I was opened. I'd never seen $6,000. It was like an insane amount of money to me. So I wouldn't leave the store. I worked it from the time the mall opened in the morning till the time it closed. It was my baby. I thought something was going to go wrong. And I remember one day walking in, and it was a freaking ghost town. There was nobody there. And we were used to doing $1,000 or so a day in sales. And that day I did like $82. And the next day I got up and went back to the mall, and the mall's empty. And there was an old man that ran a Chick-fil-A directly in front of me. I said, Herb, what in the hell? I'm going out of business. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't make it. Something's wrong with my business. Something's wrong with me. What am I doing wrong? And he started laughing. The fair was in town. It was in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. The fair was in town. Everybody went to the fair. Everybody spent their money at the fair. You know why? Because the fair was going to be gone next week. There was a time-limited period to go to the fair and spend money and waste your money and have a good time. People did it because the fair was in town. People go to concerts. I can listen to that Garth Brooks song in my car for free. And it's going to be better than going to the crowded concert and paying $20 for a beer and all that shit. But it's a limited time experience. And that's the reason webinars, teleseminars, our live events work. We make an offer that's only available at that event. When the event's over, the offer's over. There's a limited time to that. And we always sell 10 times more than we would sell on one of our live streaming events. We sell 10 times better than we would selling a recording. So the more that your marketing can be an event, the more you're going to be able to charge for that. The more people are willing to pay for the experience of it. So those are the ways you can just be sold out. The great news is I know people that open businesses that the day they open, they just put a sold out thing on their front page with a waiting list because you are sold out if you don't want to do any, and you can pick and choose the clients. People can smell desperation. Nobody wants the girl everybody's had. Nobody wants the car everybody's driven. Nobody wants the car that everybody else has. You want the car that's unique. You want something different. No girl wants to go buy the dress that every girl's wearing. Same thing. These things are always it's just a core baked in part of human nature. And if you understand that and understand that the most important thing about your business is, and here's the problem. Last thing I'll say, and this is a really big one. They maybe should move this to the front of the podcast. Most people approach a business trying to be similar to the other people that are already in that business. That's the way most people approach it. And there's a lot wrong with that. Number one, you're splitting that particular hair in half. And if 1,000 other people are splitting the same hair and they all look the same, they're splitting the same hair in half. If you're considerably different you're going to stand out. But that's not the magic to being different. The magic to being different is that I've taught this a lot of times. And honestly, it took me a long time to realize this. The magic to being different is that you're different. Think different. Remember that? Apple, think different. The magic to being different is that you're different. Here's why it's so magical. There are 3 reasons people don't buy things. There's only 3. Number 1, you don't have what they want. You're selling what you want to sell, not what they want to buy. Number 2, they don't believe you. But number 3 is the hardest one to overcome, but also the easiest to overcome. They've already failed at something similar.
That's good.
So if you're similar to all your competitors and they've ever failed with one of your competitors, they ain't buying what you got. They're wanting to try something radically different. If they've got a chronic problem that they can't get rid of, they don't want to try another version of Ajax to get the stain out of their sink. They want a sandblaster. They want a lemon-based solution that eats into the stainless steel. They want something different. If you look at this company I'm fascinated with called Mary Ruth's, they're a liquid vitamin company. And I watched the guy speak. They're doing $400 million a year. Funny part was they create liquid vitamins in a jug because he couldn't afford to buy a pill press, but he could get a liquid filler.
I think you showed me this on Amazon.
Sells $400 million a year. They had to adapt, right? So they made the liquid vitamin and said, hey, just pour this into your smoothie in the morning. You'll never taste it. And you get all your vitamins first thing in the morning. Took off like a fucking rocket, right? Took off like a fucking rocket. It's a beautiful idea, but it's different. You don't buy another pill. You don't buy another gummy. You buy a liquid vitamin. He's in a category of liquid vitamins to which there is almost no competition.
Right.
And most of these differences oftentimes come out of necessity. One of my favorite stories in the world, Warren Buffett tells this story, Enterprise rental car. He tried to buy Enterprise rental car and the guy wouldn't sell it. And Warren says, smartly, he wouldn't sell me the company. So this guy wanted to go in, he was a used car dealer and he wanted to go in the rental car business. No, the airport in the town that they formed in, I don't know which one it is, to get a booth in the airport to be a rental car company costs a fortune. He couldn't possibly afford it. And they wouldn't sell him one anyway because all the nationals were in there. So
call Enterprise, will pick you up.
We'll pick you up. So he turned his flaw into an advantage. And he was the only one and still is the only rental car company who will pick you up.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Isn't that crazy?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Still
it's
today.
Crazy to me that other rental car companies haven't adapted that.
They don't feel like they have to. And that's fine. But they're all the same now. When you go to rent a car, do you give a shit who you get it from?
No, it depends. If I'm flying into an airport, I generally want to go Thrifty or Dollar because they're always the cheapest. It's the same damn car.
Yeah, but it's the cheapest.
It's the
not
same damn
that
car.
It's not that you're going, I prefer this brand.
If I'm renting a car and I'm at home and I need to rent a car to go on a trip, or if I'm at a destination and I need a car to go on an excursion, I'm always going to do Enterprise because they come get you. And if I'm going to go from one place to another, it's going to be Hertz. If I'm going to pick up in one city and drop off in another city, it's going to be Hertz.
I had no idea you knew this much of rental cars.
You should know that I'm like nutty about every single thing, like everything.
But it's just
I travel a lot, so
it's just amazing that these companies have taken these what would be conceived as handicaps or disadvantages and made them unique selling propositions. And having a unique selling proposition, a UPS or USP rather, again, doesn't make you unique because of the unique. It makes you unique because you're unique. It just makes, I went to the other day, little town here. I live in Round Rock, Texas, and right outside Austin, Texas. And I've heard forever, oh, you got to go to Round Rock Donuts. You got to go to Round Rock Donuts. You got to go to Round Rock Donuts.
Did you go?
Went to Round Rock Donuts. There are people standing in a freaking line on Saturday morning at Round Rock Donuts. I waited 15 minutes to get donuts. They were okay, but they're orange because they use egg yolks in the donuts instead of whole eggs.
So what you have to do,
and they're okay.
What you have to do is you have to go on a Tuesday. You have to go to a Tuesday.
But there's 5 other donut places you
There's 5
can go.
other donut
They're all,
places.
they're all
none
sitting
like
with
round,
their thumb up their
There's
ass.
none like Round Rock Donuts. You got to go on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And you get the big twist donut and it's half chocolate and half regular. And for no reason other than to go do it. for no reason other than to go do
I
it.
doubt if I will.
But
it's amazing that
it's a very local thing that everybody. The same thing with In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out Burger is fucking terrible. Have you ever had In-N-Out Burger?
It's my favorite burger in the world.
Oh my God, of course it is. They're terrible. They're awful. You go to Mooney Burgers, you go to Hop Dotty, you go to Twisted Root. Like all those places have delicious hamburgers.
4 times more money tastes worse to me. Whataburger's cardboard.
I don't know why anybody eats any of that shit, frankly. But people love In-N-Out Burger because of the stupid secret menu. I'm gonna order the purple
dinosaur or something. Yeah, right.
Yeah, the purple dinosaur with a little hair on the bottom.
Yeah.
Some guy said that one time in front. We went one time. We tried it one time. Gabe and I. We were outside. I was so mad. I threw my hamburger out the window. Gabe went and picked it up and threw it away. But yeah. Anyway.
There's a company. If you ever get a chance to go to it, it's fascinating. It's in Sikeston, Missouri. If you ever go from St. Louis to Paducah, Kentucky,
I will absolutely
drive by Sikeston,
never
Missouri.
ever be
And
there.
this town has like
absolutely
11,000 people, and this restaurant has all 11,000 of them are there every Saturday and Sunday, and everybody that comes off the interstate is there. It's a Cracker Barrel. It's fundamentally a Cracker Barrel. You been to Cracker Barrel?
I have.
Okay. It's fundamentally a Cracker Barrel. The difference is it's 5 times bigger than a Cracker Barrel, and there are tour buses in front of it, and you wait an hour and a half on a Sunday to sit down in this giant restaurant to get fried chicken and mashed potatoes. It's the same shit you get at Cracker Barrel, kill you anyway. Decent food, but it's the home of throwed rolls.
What does that even mean?
They bake these big rolls, these big delicious rolls, and while you're waiting to be served,
you get to eat the rolls so you're not even hungry anymore?
They come out with trays of rolls, and they go, hot rolls, and they throw them at you.
I would fuck someone up.
And you catch them like a bait. No, everybody's raising their hand. Give me.
No way.
And they throw
This makes sense to me, though, Missouri.
They took the concept to Orange, Alabama, to the beach down there at Perdido Key, Floribama. Same result. It's just something a little damn different.
Have you ever been at Dick's Last Resort?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a thing for a while.
I went with my first husband. We walked in.
Where they insult you.
In Boston. Here's what happened. This guy's a Marine. He just came back, ATFP. Just came home. We walk in, and they put Cool Whip in my mouth and asked me if I spit or swallow. And we didn't tell him. The
joke.
The joke, like Dick's Last Resort is like this thing. Yeah, it wasn't.
If you want a good time, look
night.
up Wiener Circle Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
And the Wiener Circle is
you want a good time.
The Wiener Circle is a restaurant in Chicago. It's a hot dog restaurant in Chicago. And these ladies that work it have been working there for years. And they're like, order, bitch. Tip, motherfucker. What you want? I want a hot dog that's a shy dog, motherfucker. Spit it out. Tip, bitch. They're just mean as hell to everybody.
But people go because they love it. Different.
Everybody goes and gets drunk and goes to the Wiener Circle.
And gets yelled at by...
And gets yelled at by people who force them to tip.
2 old white ladies or what?
No, it's like four old black ladies. So they send in the kid, Jack McBride, the little blonde kid from 30 Rock. They send him in with Triumph the Insult Dog to go get hot dogs. And they're mean to him, and he's the nicest human in the world. And then they come back with the insult dog. It's a fun time. Go watch it.
As per always, we went way off topic and
matter.
Way back.
Nobody's listening anyway. It don't matter.
I don't know. We had 38,000 downloads last week.
Yeah, I think people are wiping their ass with them. I don't think they're really watching them.
They download them with the intent to listen to them when they get to the gym.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm going to listen to them when I get to the gym too.
All right. So
cool. Thanks for being trainwreckshow.com. I'll give you, I did create a GPT I'll give with this. I created a GPT or a little piece of software. If you don't know what a GPT is, look it up. Get into
If you don't know what a GPT
century.
is, just stop listening.
Yeah. But it's called a disruption engine. And it's really freaking cool. You can enter any kind of business in there and ask that, how would I disrupt this business? And I did it for, I thought, you can't disrupt the hot dog business. I put it in my GPT, and it told me 8 different ways I could disrupt the business. From managing traffic patterns with AI to know where to set my cart, to dynamic pricing for busier times of the day, to how to forecast my food cost, to how to have a robotic arm that turned the hot dogs for novelty to bring people to the cart, the music to play, all kinds of crazy stuff. A TikTok screen where I'm constantly making the hot dogs on TikTok for people. People would watch that shit for hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But it gave me these like 8 amazing ideas. Almost made me want to go back in the hot dog business.
We're not going in the hot
You
dog
want a hot dog business?
No.
You could.
No.
I'll hook you up.
No.
All the hot dogs you can eat.
No. All right.
Thanks for being on.